Welcome and thanks for joining me right here on the channel. The solution is you. I hope that you are doing well. I do appreciate each of you just for stopping by. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. With that, let me go ahead and tell you about today's topic. So, the title of today's subject, A Sour Steel. Now, before I get into today's content, let me get into a quick icebreaker. So, I hope that each of you are doing well and enjoying life, whoever you may be with, whether it's family, your significant other, friends. I hope that you are making the best of each day, that you are progressing, that you are prioritizing your health, and that you are performing to your best at whatever job that you may hold. Now, speaking of jobs, how many of you at your job have a 30-minute lunch? Now, for myself, it's been a long time since I've had a job that required a 30-minute lunch. And the thing about a 30-minute lunch, you never really have time to even enjoy lunch, if you can even get to your lunch at all. So the thing about when your lunch is cut down from 30 minutes, one of the good things is that you're able to leave the job earlier than if you had an hour lunch. But when you have those 30-minute lunches, it puts a lot of pressure on you, doesn't it? So you find that as soon as you clock out, you run into your car and you jump in your car, and it seems like every traffic light is red. So you're sitting at the light, you're looking at your watch, time is ticking, and soon as the light turns green, you drive off to get to your local drive-through. Maybe you're headed to McDonald's, or maybe you're going to Chick-fil-A or something like that. And there's always going to be some people that are driving extra slow. Now, typically when you're out on the road, everybody seems like they're passing you up, everyone's speeding. But just because you have the 30-minute lunch, everybody seems like they're driving slow. You ever been in this situation? You're in a rush at lunch, you're trying to get your bite to eat, you've been putting in the work, and you don't have much time, and everybody on the road is driving slow. And then sometimes you might pull up to the drive-through and it's wide open. You ever pulled up to the drive-through and you like, cool, it's wide open. So you're gonna place an order and surely this is gonna go through quickly. But then as soon as you pull up to the drive-through with high hopes, the intercom person comes on and they ask you to wait. Now you're sitting up there and you're looking at the clock, 10, 15 minutes done went by, and you have about another 15 minutes in order to get back to the job and get logged in, and they done placed you on hold. So they take about 2 or 3 minutes. Now you got to give them the order and they can't hear you on the intercom. So it's always something when you are pressed for time, especially with these 30-minute lunches. And the good thing about an hour lunch is that at least you can take a nap in your car or maybe go into a conference room or something and you can take you a nap. And sometimes you can be so tired that you lose track of time. So with an hour lunch, you happen to wake up and you still got another 20 minutes before you have to log back in. So maybe you can get another 5 minutes of nap in. But when you have a 30-minute lunch, you can't do the same thing because you can have that 30-minute lunch and you're sitting out in your car and you doze off and then you wake up and you're 20 minutes past the time that you were supposed to clock back in. So now you nervous, so you running back into the building to get clocked in, and your manager happens to be looking at you from their cubicle. So there's a lot of pressure with these 30-minute lunches. And then a lot of times when you have clocked in late or something like that, you take the attitude back into the workplace. So you mad at the job or something because you have a 30-minute lunch and that's what came with the particular position that you have. So you all upset that maybe you overslept or you didn't have a chance to get lunch at the drive-through. Maybe you were 2 cars away from actually picking up the order at the drive-through window. You've already placed the order. You 2 cars away from paying, but then you notice you only have about 7 minutes for you to clock back in. Now you have to get out of line. Now you got to race through traffic, take alleys and side streets, doing all sorts of maneuvers and everything just to hurry up to get back to the job so you can log in. Man, these 30-minute lunches are nothing to play with. Now, let me go ahead and get into today's subject, a sour steel. Now, oftentimes, relationships can start in the workplace. There is someone that you are used to working with, so you know their patterns and you understand their personality. This could be a person that you've hung out with for a number of months or a year or so, and you know their character. This could also be someone that you've met outside of the job, so it could be around your local area. Maybe this is someone who lives up the street. This could be a woman that is always shows up to somewhere that you frequent. This could be a bar or could be a local store. Also, it could be one of your favorite restaurants. Every time you go in, maybe it's the woman behind the counter that takes your order. And usually with individuals that you spend a great amount of time with and you've been able to understand who they are and how they operate, this makes for a good dating scene. So you can take it a step further and you can go out for a date to get to know this person a little more on a personal level. So this goes for men and women. This happens for women as well. You know, they may find that there's a particular man that they see all the time, whether it's in the workplace or outside, and someone that they become familiar with and they can take things to the next level. But also, men, sometimes there's a situation, let's say at work, where you may have a group of your male coworkers who are eyeing down this one woman that looks very nice. Maybe she works in a totally different department, so no one really sees her that often. You ever been in a situation like that where you happen to see a woman walk through, maybe she's headed to make some copies or something like that, and you're wondering what department she works in? Or if it's outside of the job, this could be one of your local restaurants, and maybe this particular waitress or something is filling in for someone who usually takes your order, and you're wondering where they've been hiding her. So, but let's just get back to the job. So let's say at the job, maybe you have a group of buddies, or you have maybe just one of your male partners at the job that's eyeing down this one woman that no one really sees a lot, and she's looking very nice, very good, and she appears to have her stuff together. So everyone is, all the guys in the department, your department, is talking about this particular woman, how good she's looking and who's going to get to her first, this type of talk. So you not really putting your 2 cents in. You kind of listening to all of the guys kind of just, making a big deal over this particular woman. And so you a guy, you're looking pretty decent, and You have no problem getting any type of woman that you need and you got your stuff together. So what you're going to do is you're going to get in there before anyone else and you're going to steal this woman away. How many of you guys have ever been in this situation where you have either your buddy or a group of your buddies are eyeing down this particular woman, no matter where you're at or where you've been, and you swoop in before any of them to get that woman? So you go ahead and you make your move first, and you get the number or whatever. And so you give her a call and you guys are going to link up, and somehow word gets back to your buddies that you done swooped in and you done got the woman. So the thing about this, in your head, you're thinking that since you were able to do something quicker than any of your buddies, that this is going to be a great payoff for you, that you're going to be experiencing something that your buddies are missing out on. And oh well, too bad for them. So now you have linked up with this woman and you're going over her house or something, and you ran into some things that made you regret on why you made your move with this woman. Now, I know there's a lot of you men and women that have been in this type of situation. So, men, number one, this woman that you have just swooped down on could be a woman that is highly incompatible with you. So, this could be a woman that likes to go clubbing all the time, and you are a guy who is laid back and maybe you're a homebody. You are all about your money, so you don't really have time to waste, and you don't have, or you don't like to be in the public eye a lot. Usually at clubs, a lot of different people are showing up. There could be some fights going on. There are people who are sometimes disrespectful. There could be a lot of drinking and all sorts of other things going on. And you may be a guy who do not want to be affiliated with this type of environment. You don't want to be susceptible to this type of risk where anything could possibly jump off. This could also be a woman that could be well known by a lot of people in the neighborhood for the wrong reasons, and they come in and address her the wrong way in your presence. Now that puts a lot of focus on you as to how you're going to handle the situation. This could also be a woman that likes to spend a lot of money. So now that you're involved and you didn't take time to really get to know her like you should because you wanted to swoop in before any of your buddies, now she's requiring you to pay on everything that she wants. She is just running up the tab on certain items. She's just grabbing whatever she wants with the hopes of you paying for it. And I know there's a lot of men who usually in your mind, you're like, well, I'm not going to be paying for this or that. Or if I do purchase this, then you got to be doing that for me in return. So you have a plan in place for if a woman is going to be requiring so much that you're only going to be willing to go so far. But a lot of times your plans could be thrown off. Maybe the woman is just so fine, and maybe she is just promising you so much to come within the next few days or something like that. She's pretending that she's going to be making you feel so good or something. So now in your mind, you're going to be just going all out for her in the hopes that this is going to be a big payoff based on your efforts, but things just don't pan out that way. Number two is this could be a woman that has children that just do not listen. So this could be a situation. I know there's a lot of men who say that they will not date a woman that has a child or children, or there may be a certain amount of children that may turn the man off, and this is how they feel. But this could be a woman that you swoop down on that has the peach for the beach, and you're going to make an exception. So maybe she has 2 or 3 kids, and their ages range between 9 to 13 years of age. And maybe you are the driver, you like to drive them around everywhere. So y'all are driving everywhere, and these kids are in the back seat. So since you're the driver, you are responsible for the riders in the car and to ensure their safety. So these are kids that are in the back seat, 9 to 13 years of age, and they're not wearing their seat belts. Any of you men experience this, where you with a woman or you're dating a woman? This is a woman that's looking really good, really fine, and she has children, and they're not listening to you. So as the driver, you have to ensure their safety, and they're not wearing their seatbelts. You're driving down the freeway and you happen to look back in the back seat and they don't have the seatbelts on. So you have to consistently tell them to put on their seatbelt. You ever been in this situation where you have children that are not listening? Everything that you tell them, they're doing the opposite. And some of you guys are out there just dealing with all of this in order to get to the goods. So you have to be careful about these women that you're swooping down on, to ensure that you fill them out and make sure that things are up to your standards, and that you're not settling. So number 3, this could be a woman that is a turnoff in the bedroom. This could be the same thing for women as well. You may have a man that is not to your liking in the bedroom. Maybe you had high hopes. This could be a woman. You're a woman, and maybe you have been without sex maybe for 6 months. Maybe the last guy did you wrong or something, or maybe you just wanted to set some type of standard for yourself. So you decided to go 6 months without sex. So now you're all hot and steamy, and there's a guy that all the women were talking about. Maybe this is a guy who just got on at the job, and he's looking good, looking like he works out every day, and skin tone is right, and the right height and weight and everything, and all the women are trying to get a piece of the action. But you step in from behind the scenes, and you're able to get the man and get his number and everything, get home, and you're so hot, and it's been 6 months for you, and you all turned on. So you got the guy in the bedroom and everything, and you got him right where you want him, and then you're doing your thing, and after 30 seconds he done bust, and now you're disappointed because he wasn't all that you thought he was, and you were thinking that you were on the fast track to heaven, but got your wings clipped immediately. And men, you may be with that woman who is only good for one position. You ever been with a woman like this that only has one position? She doesn't have any flavor with her bedroom etiquette. She doesn't like to have bodily fluids flying around, or she doesn't want to be touched, and all she wants you to do is just get in and finish. There's no type of venture or no type of liveliness with the sex. Have you ever experienced this with a woman? Or this could be the opposite. This could be one that you swoop down on. Maybe this is a younger one. Maybe she's about 25 to about 28 years of age. So she's nice and supple. and she just wants you to go in with no protection and blast every time. So you have to be careful, man, when you're out here and you're deciding to swoop in and make a catch before any of your partners. And last on the list, men, this woman could be a manipulator. So this is one that makes the lies sound so good that you start to even question yourself. Now, men, a lot of times when we listen to other men, make statements about certain things, we tend to dismiss them. So maybe this could be one of your coworkers, or it could be just somebody on the outside of your job just making a statement saying something like, man, yeah, last week I had $300 and I made a trade and I was able to turn it into 3,000. Man, quit lying. Man, he lying. So a lot of times we'll dismiss something like that. But then you could be on the couch with this woman that you swoop down on at the job. You don't know her, but you wanted to beat your buddies to the punch. And you could be at her house and you're sitting on the couch and you're close to each other. Maybe you're watching something on television. She just happens to be flipping through her phone and you see that she has, you just came over to the house, but you're sitting on the couch and you see that she has two recent calls from two different guys. So you decide to ask her about it. So you plan it off and you're talking about something else, and then you move the conversation to, hey, who are those two calls right there from those guys that just hit you up not long ago? She was like, oh, them, oh, that, yeah, these were two of my contacts, and I had to let them know that I moved on. They hit me up, and I had to let them know that I already got a new man or whatever, and I had to tell them that I moved on. So then you begin to just second guess yourself. You thinking maybe you jumped the gun or something. And then 2 or 3 days later, these same two contacts appear in her phone. I hope you enjoyed today's message. I thank you for listening to me today. Please understand that the solution is you. With that, have a great day.